Hey guys, welcome to Unlock Your Queen. I'm super excited for today's guest. He's come all the way from the Sunshine Coast and I've literally been waiting a year to get him on the show. Please welcome Callan Krause, the co-founder of Corrective Culture.
Thank you, thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining me.
Finally made it down. I'm glad we did this. We spoke about it probably was it coming up on a year ago now, I reckon.
A year ago, yeah, and I hadn't started it yet.
Yeah.
And I'm just like putting the feelers out there and straight away you're like, yep.
I know, and you hadn't started it, and I turned up, and it's so professional. And I was like, oh, it's like it was not an iPhone sitting on a table, you know. So I was like, it worked out.
And you know, you were traveling with Jetstar, so we have to thank them for kind of being on time today as well.
I know. Yeah, I didn't expect it. They did delay us actually. Yeah, but I still got here in time.
Which is the main thing. So I just want to jump straight in. How did you go from, you know, prison to talking about health and changing people's lives?
So I guess I would say like most people know me for like movement. Like my things like rehabilitation, movement, body movement. That was my passion. I didn't even know it was my passion, but it sort of was, because my father's into something called Feldenkrais, which is like awareness through movement is actually the slogan of Feldenkrais. And I hated it growing up. I didn't think I'd listen to any of it. He was just talking shit in my ear all the time, laying on the ground, like moving around and asking me like how many ways can you move your shoulder that way and that way, and I just hated it.
Yeah.
You know? But it obviously was going to my head.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we'd be at the beach and he'd say, what does that posture say about that person sitting there or talking and those sort of things? And then basically what happened was, to like get through this bit quick, I was just in a party crowd when I was like 21. So I'm 31 now, so I was 21 at the time. And everyone was, and it's funny how you're still the same person, like in the sense of it was just opportunity then, and that was the only opportunity then. And now, and I was just jumping on that opportunity. It was, oh yeah, you get this for this amount, sell it for this amount. It was so bad too, I'm pretty sure I was making like $4 off.
What were you selling?
I was selling MDMA capsules, right?
Making $4 per cap.
And I was like, if I sell 100, it's like $400, and that's a lot for like, you know, if it's like half your week's wage at your time as like a 21-year-old. So
you always had that hustle.
Yeah.
That business mind.
Yeah, and I was still working. I was still like into fitness. I was doing jiu-jitsu then. I still do jiu-jitsu, but I was just started it then, and CrossFit when it just started, like when it was fresh as, I was into that. It's funny now, I'm glad I got to experience all these like CrossFit. Now I wouldn't do that anymore. I can still see benefit in it, but it's now it's like almost polarity to what I do now. But anyway, I got caught getting 100 from this guy's house. And this is also another story how like money gets you out of trouble. And
how old were you at the time?
I was 21.
When you got caught?
When I got caught, yeah. And we didn't have money. Like mum's a single mum sort of household, and like she could have pulled it together, but I didn't want to put it on her. So I just didn't tell her, and I was like, I'm gonna be good. And the cop that got me was like, you won't do any time for this, it'll be all right. So I thought I was good. And and it's funny because I got 7 months, and the guy I bought him off got 6 months, which makes no sense.
That does not make sense.
It makes no sense, and he got rid of way more. So that's what I mean. But he had money. He had the money that he made off it to pay for the lawyers.
Lawyer, yeah.
And so they sentenced me to 2.5 years, but I served 7 months for it. And that's where like posture. I saw posture in there as of how important it is. Like people think it's like even just the way you hold yourself in everyday life. It's an energy attached to that, and people may see that as I read your energy, but everyone reads your energy doing that. Like everyone knows if the guy's all rounded looking like this, he's looking afraid, or you're not gonna. There's no confidence, and it's just a gorilla. We're still gorillas in some sense, so it's like he looks weak, right? Or I remember I was at the beach with my friends, and we saw this girl walking, and we didn't even know what she looked like, right? Couldn't even see, it was so far away, but we were like, oh, she's hot. Because she had this posture that showed it.
Yeah.
And then we spoke about that after. I was like, wonder why we all found her attractive then, like, because we didn't even know what she looked like. And it was because of the way she held herself. And so there's little realizations in that, but I also saw it inside where, like, I walked into a unit and it was maximum security. So it was like, it's too hard to sort of segregate everyone in some sense. So so there's like just full lifers and murderers and no like
And you were in there with them.
yeah, but there's no like bad, like as in there's no anyone that hurts women or anything, they're all in protection, or kids are all in protection, right?
Yeah.
But all the normal crimes, like that's all in there. That's like a bad crime. You know what I mean? If you like kill someone or an armed rob, that's fine. But if you hurt a woman or a kid or anything, you gotta like, you can't be around us.
Yeah.
And it's just the rules. But
And how did you feel in there? Did you feel safe? Were you scared?
I was like, after a while, I felt safe. I was had a natural scared. Like everyone has a natural, I assume they would have a natural fear when you don't know what tomorrow is. Like, because what happened is when I got sentenced, it was 6 nights in the watch house before I actually went there, and that was the worst part of it because it's just in one cell and there's no light, like as in no sunlight, no. You don't leave. You're just basically indoors for 6 days, and that was pretty bad because it's like solitary, and that's why I realised I'm an extrovert at nature. So keep me by myself in a room for 6 days, it's like,
You'll go crazy.
yeah, and it was all right. I still stayed like solid, but I felt, I'd rather do like, I remember afterwards thinking I'd rather do a month in prison than a week in the watch house.
Wow.
Because it's just like, at least you got the boys and do shit, like, but it's hard, but it's just that time. I had jiu-jitsu behind me, so I felt somewhat safe in that sense, if it was like one-on-one, but still like, you know, there's some big boys in there.
Yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But pretty well, I'd walk in, and this is the posture thing I'm talking about. I'd walk into a unit and I'd make sure my chest was wide, and I'd make sure I was looking confident. And it was fake confidence, but it was still enough to say I would still defend myself if something happens.
Yeah.
Right? And I saw, this is something I won't forget. I forget his name though, but I saw this guy come through, and he already had a bit of a black eye, and he was just like afraid. He was just like this, and he like pretty quick. One of the brothers came up to him and was like, oh, you got a token for me? Like, said it sort of nicely.
What's
like,
a token?
Token is gets you like a can of Coke out of the machine.
Okay.
It's like currency. It's like also, it's like basically currency. Like you gamble with it, everything's that. And he's like, nah, it's for me when my daughter comes and visits, you know? And then he's like, come on, man. Like, you know, it's like, come on, brother, you got a token for me. And then I was like, oh, all right, and gave him a token. And then they all just lined up and was like, you gave him a token, you gave me a token, you know? And I'm pretty sure they took his shoes and like eventually it just got worse, right? So from the start, but the point of that is no one came up to me and tried me with that because of the posture. And they only went up to him and tried him with that because of the posture. That's what I believe anyway, right? If he was like this, they wouldn't even ask that.
No.
It would have just been like, you just fit in, right? And at the same time, if he doesn't stand up for himself, you can't stand up for him either. Like he has to do it himself, because it's like evolution. Like people die. Like there has to be death and living, and weak dies, and all this happens. That's the real world thousands of years ago. You know, it's all nice now, but it's almost like I saw prison as like a magnification of the same way people treat you out here, but obviously with a bit more consequence. So the same way a business meeting, if you got shitty posture, it's like, I noticed that, and so would you. You know, even if it's subconscious, you'd still notice it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's there's so many little subtle details in that. But basically, I did my time, and I got out, and then I met my mate Jake, who's my business partner, who's the other half of Corrective Culture, and Jake was a professional bodyboarder, so that was his initial following. So he was one of the best in the world, but he's just like he's a deep soul. He's like, he was the first guy I met, and I had these same sort of yearning for more, for something spirituality that had never opened up to me. It was never opened up. Like I didn't know who, like Alan Watts or Abraham Hicks or all these sort of like Michael Singers, or all these like sort of old school guru type people, philosophers weren't. It was just TV, right? So I didn't know what that was, and then I was sitting. I met Jake at jiu-jitsu, and he's like, oh yeah, like, have you read the Tibetan Book of the Dead? And I was like, nah, dude, but that sounds sick, you know? And then he just like has these little gems of wisdom that he'll drop because he's experienced it, and he's not trying to be that guy. He is that guy, like that's his passion, but he likes the body too. And I love that stuff. I love the body, but I like that stuff, you know? So the two of us together, we sort of blend, like I'm that yang, he's yin. And that's sort of what started Corrective Culture, because the world had a yearning for it too. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and young men and women. Yeah, because most of our following is actually women. It's pretty close. It's like 51% to 50, but everyone, it's like there's a superficial world out there, but there's something deeper going on. And also when we talk about like archetypes and whatnot, what our sort of mission now as a human is to push everyone towards the king and the queen archetype, which is what you're all about, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's all Carl Jung's model of archetypes, where we all play an archetype, we all play a character in life, and you got to reflect and ask, what character am I playing, you know? So it could be the artist, could be the warrior, could be the fighter, it's anything. There's no set name, it's like character, right? And we all play that character, mother, father, child, victim, saboteur, all these things. But the goal that I try and reflect on is king archetype and queen archetype is sort of an ambition that we can all at least strive towards, and some of us may get there and some of us may not, but it's just a feeling that's attached to it for better decision making. And it's a way I sort of thought when I was young. I used to make up this thing when I was young. I thought, like, if I was the leader of a tribe, what's the best decision to make right now?
That's hilarious.
Instead of like, not for me or for, it's like.
And what age
us.
were you thinking like that?
I remember when I was 5.
At 5 years old?
Not the tribe thing, but I was thinking, I remember, I told this story once where like, I remember there was like a ball, someone kicked a ball. I remember all in year 1 and we're all like, there was like maybe 20 or 30 of us. And one of the boys kicked the ball and lost it. And then we were like, oh, like, where's this ball? And I remember thinking, okay, so he was over there and his foot was angled that way and he hit it about that hard, so it should sort of be right there. And I remember looking up and seeing it through the tree. And at that time, I remember thinking, wonder why no one else thought like that here. And also when we were growing up earlier, like later on, if people were like fighting or if there was like fights and that, I would break down in my head as like, why has this fight occurred? Who's it wrong? Instead of just like hitting people, like even if it was my friends, like, and just breaking down, okay, that's not the optimal decision. That's not the optimal decision. Like there's always an optimal decision. And another really good tip of getting to that mindset is thinking about what advice would you give your child or your son or your daughter in whatever the situation is. And all of a sudden you can kick into this mindset of like, oh, like someone cuts me off in traffic, I shouldn't be like, fuck you, you know, you should just let it go.
Yeah.
And then you've got peace. And that's what you would tell your son or your daughter. But you don't tell yourself that. And that's the king or the queen, constantly reflecting of like survivability and just optimal choices so you can get through life with the least resistance possible. Because a lot of people just, you can see it, they just like, there's a stress constantly coming in their life and you can see the decisions that they're making and the decisions they're not making, which is still a decision of why that stress is coming into their life. Could be the smallest thing, like not smiling to the person that hands you coffee and then they think the world's against them. And then the next person comes in and she like gives him a discount in the coffee and he's like, why not me?
What? Yeah.
Like this is throughout everywhere. And it's crazy how much you can actually change everything around you.
So with these archetypes, do you just choose one or do you play multiple roles like throughout the day or throughout your life?
Yeah, maybe throughout the day, I never thought about it like that. But like throughout the life, generally you'll change. A drill you do that I did is you write down your 3 most dominant archetypes. So last time I did it, it was the warrior, student, and the teacher.
And for someone who doesn't know any of the archetypes, where can they go to kind of find that information?
ChatGPT.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, love that.
No, like Google, all Carl Jung stuff. If you just type in archetypes, there'll be a list. But remember, it doesn't matter about the list so much. It's just whatever, like, you can think of, really. But there's a list of like, so there's like, if I look at my father, he's the eternal child. So he's always playful and like, we'll be at the beach and he'll be balancing on the beams and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's also the child and can't make a lot of decisions for himself and things like this, you know? Or say my mother, she's the mother archetype, like she'll be worrying, like, but then you say, how am I playing that? Am I playing that too strong or not enough? So if the mother archetype, for example, not enough would be just not caring, right? That's just like not involved, right? And then too much would be smothering and like just nagging and just putting it on it, which in turn pushes the child away more.
So you have to find that perfect balance.
Yeah, yin yang of everything. Yeah. So warrior, which was me, would hate injustice. Someone's done something to that person and you break down, why'd you do that, you know? But the warrior or say you're in a debate, the warrior has its role to play there, but a warrior played too strongly would be I'll start talking over the other person, get like feeling anger come with it, instead of coming at it with a sense of calm, but still within yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a really good drill, and it's what we learned in the check system. Carl Jung's stuff, he's like the godfather of modern psychology, and it's gold when you reflect on yourself, especially when you reflect on any pain in your life. And that comes back to the pain teacher, like why is there pain in my life right now, whether that's physical or mental, emotional. I'm constantly thinking of how am I to blame, and that actually empowers me. Like I think about, even when I went through a breakup a couple of years ago, I think, how did I let this happen?
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I mean?
the same as me.
Yeah.
So I was engaged last year to be married in September, and I ended the engagement. And afterwards, I didn't even think of like my partner at the time, like the actions or what happened there. I'm like, why did I stay in this relationship so long? What could I have done differently?
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And that's Queen.
Yes.
Yeah, but remember, that's some out there shit for a lot of people, and that's very triggering for a lot of people.
It is.
Because you tell them the truth.
Yeah.
Truth hurts, but the truth is what works.
And what sets you free as well, and allows you to learn and build and grow. And
yeah, exactly. The truth. I got to check down a t-shirt. The truth is what sets you free.
Can I get a percentage of the sales?
Yeah, because that's a really, really good point, I think, for people that not realize that is the truth does set you free. And thinking about my last relationship, I remember when it ended, I told her all the truth, right? Exactly, this is how I feel, this is why all this happened, this is that. And I remember thinking, it helped me get over it really quickly, in the sense of, you still care, but it helped me. I've got nothing else to say now. I don't have to say, I wish I said this or that.
Yeah.
I said it all, so it doesn't matter.
That's very freeing.
It's freeing. Yeah, it's gold. So then, yeah, but again, how we got into the health sort of stuff is like, it all almost happened to us. We started talking about this, and then I was like, oh man, we need to start, like, I didn't even know what we had to start. We started an Instagram page out of my garage, and I was just working on people's bodies, like after scaffold. I was scaffolding, right? And I do it after work, and I just get clients, but I was passionate. So it was.
And you had clients, is that from the knowledge that you gained from your dad growing up, and that's how you knew what to do?
I went to the Czech Institute. So Jake got me onto, my business partner got me onto Paul Chek's work, which is the Czech Institute, which is holistic health work.
Yeah.
And when I say holistic, I mean holistic in the sense of food, mind, body, all of it. Not like, you'll see the guru that's overweight and got diabetes, or that just doesn't use their body at all. Or the person that is really fit in the gym, but their organs are inflamed and shit. Like they got red patchy skin and stuff. They may have a six pack, but they're not there. Or they do no inner work in any sense, and there's no depth to them.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by holistic.
Yeah.
And looking at people, like when I have a client come and see me, I'm looking at what they're telling me, and I'm looking at, because the body never lies, right? So I'm seeing what their skin looks like, what their eyes look like, and then you give them all this paperwork to say, okay, well, like this person's wondering why they're sick, but they're sleeping 4 hours a night, or they're starting every day with just sugar, or they're having 4 coffees a day, and then they're chasing the symptom instead of grounding and being honest with themselves. And then you tell them, and a lot of the time they don't want to hear it, and they're like, oh, it can't be that simple. But you'd be so, like when they say it can't be that simple, I'm like, we evolved to have 8 hours of sleep for millions of years, and you're going to take away half of that and think you're going to just be fine.
Yeah.
Like, and it will show up as something, and then they're going to go into the medical model, and they're going to try and find a mechanism for that one thing, which is so unquantifiable because we all got our own genetic weaknesses. So the way, like a really good concept for anyone listening to heal from anything, and this is gold, and this is like one of the biggest takeaways I took from all my education, is the concept of physiological load, which the medical model calls the allostatic load. So if you have any illness, whatever that is, cancer, back pain, whatever it is, you got to look at your life like a bucket of stress and see where is the stress inputs. And people sometimes think of stress as just like mental stress. I mean stress from like, am I drinking tap water? That means every time I drink water, there's chlorine and fluoride in that. My liver has to break that down. Stress from makeup. Stress from, is the food got all sprays on it? That's all added stress. Stress from, is the meat I'm eating just full grain fed? Like when I went to Tokyo, it was just Wagyu, all Wagyu everywhere, which is obese cow. I can feel that. a lot the next day.
Really?
But if I have an organic piece of steak, I'm fine. But if I have grain-fed obese cow, well, I'm going to turn into a grain-fed obese cow. Right?
Well, when you put it like that,
Yeah.
and it's funny how these things are glorified. Sugars, obese cow, wagyu steaks,
I know it's expensive.
Yeah.
Because people aren't connected to how shit feels.
Yeah.
So if I ever feel bad, and again, the pain teacher, if I ever feel inflamed, feel puffy in the face next morning, straight away I think, what did I eat the night before? Like if I puffy in the face the next day, I reflect on my dinner. I'm like, okay, what did I have? And like, I found out those like big brown potatoes, when I have too many of them, it inflames me.
Really?
Right? Those like white potatoes. But if I have sweet potato with that, I'm good. Right? My friend found out cauliflower was like poison to her, right? But broccoli is fine. But if she has broccoli powder, it does the same effect as cauliflower, which is cruciferous. So there's all these little things that her bloodline never ate that doesn't work with her, that she's being told it's healthy from all these outside things. That's not healthy for her, Or like,
because it's not a one size fits all. That's the thing. And I feel like with a lot of traditional medicine and advice, it's always one size fits all.
Yeah, I know. It is like that.
And it's annoying, and we're not all the same.
Yeah,
we're really not.
You can't break it down like that. And that's why, like, when we're talking about the parasite cleanse, so for people listening, I sell a parasite cleanse.
Which is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's cool. And what's different about it is it's if you've got parasites, it'll deal with that. But even if you don't, it'll deal with a lot of shit, because it's not just the herbs and the oregano and the herbs, the anti-parasitics. It's a way of connecting to your body, and it's a way that people don't realize they're about to go through that, which I like. Really, That's what it's about. Like, I'm like, oh, they're about to really feel how food makes them feel. How all of a sudden when you cook, which you can, like good organic foods, spray-free foods, good meats, every meal of the day, for 4 weeks straight, it's not even that long. We did that for millions of years. How good you can feel, and how your joint pain can go away, and little itises and osises.
And your energy levels.
Yeah.
I was coming home from work and still feeling like I just woke up in the morning, and I wasn't even having caffeine, no sugar.
Yeah, no caffeine.
It was crazy.
Yeah, and what it mainly does is it takes away all these like newer things in our evolution, and then you take them away, and you go back to the primal, like just foods, and you bring them back in after, and you see how you feel. And then like you'll find out little things that could be, and people forget that one little thing is like a scratch in your gut. And if you do that every single day, like say someone is intolerant to dairy and they have a coffee every day, that is every morning, let's say it takes 5 years to penetrate the gut, and then they get a little bit of a gut issue, and then food leaks into the gut, and then that food settles somewhere, and then they get an autoimmune issue, and then all of a sudden their body starts attacking that food, and all of a sudden it's this cascade of issues, and they try and go see some professional for it, and don't realize it's the coffee they're having each morning.
And then they get on pills for the rest of their life.
It's wild.
It is wild.
So that's where you connect to how food makes you feel. And again, that's common sense. People think that's some out there thing. It's common sense to not have sprays on your food. It's common sense to eat good meat and not have a cow that's like stuck in a little thing and just force-fed grains and stuff. Like, it's common sense to not have chickens that are like this, and you think you're going to eat that and feel all right. And
some
your
of these
body makes
videos
it.
of the chickens,
Yeah.
honestly, and they can't walk because they're too heavy for their legs, and they're just sitting in their own shit.
Yeah, it's wild, yeah. And if you have an organic chicken compared to a caged chicken and you try and pull the leg off, the organic chicken will have a strong leg because it moves around, it's free.
Yeah.
But a caged chicken is just like flimsy, just like pulls apart. There's no connective tissue. And you're eating that, and your body creates you out of the fat and the cells, and it makes you. It's why, like, and there's so many bodily signs, like you see people that drink too much beer, their face will go red, It's like if you were to draw the archetype of the alcoholic, you're going to draw probably a red face on them.
Yeah.
And that's an obvious thing, that's inflammation. And then again, that's something gone unchecked for years will just create bigger problems, and you'll be stuck in the system instead of reflecting on your foundations. And the foundations, if we break it down, this is what I was taught, right? Diet, quiet, movement, and happiness. Paul calls it the 4 doctor model. So Dr. Diet, Dr. Quiet, Dr. Movement, and Dr. Happiness. And you look at the yin yang of them. So diet, are you too yang or too yin in your diet? Yang would be coffee, yang would be carbs, yang would be rice, which all of that shit's fine as long as you got yin to balance it, right? But some people, and I'll see this a lot of females clients, is they'll start the day on yang sugar, let's say like fucking 6 pieces of fruit or something in the morning, which again, remember fruit today is like, an apple's this big, which a wild apple's this big. So you never evolved to have fruit in all seasons. Seasons would naturally break this up, but we can eat sugar all year round now, you know? And so, and then, yeah, yin yang, right? So water, bone broth, slow cooks, like that's all energy building. It's not gonna like take away that like depletion. And then you look at movement, too much, too little. My whole thing was too much when I was younger, I'd overtrain.
Yeah.
So I was doing MMA back then, so I would train just too much, right? And
So do you think overtraining is not a positive thing? Like for example, last week I ran 13 Ks like after work. So do you think pushing your body to that extent is a negative?
Yeah, well, you just know within yourself. So what I ask myself is, am I tired? And I know this is the whole David Goggins model, and I still love his stuff, to be honest.
I love his stuff too, honestly.
So it's a balance, right? Sometimes you got to get some shit done. But when I'm listening to health, if I'm tired, my body wants sleep.
Yeah.
My body wants nutrition. If I'm tired, I'm also asking myself, why am I tired? So then I'm looking at my foundations again. But when I got energy, I'll spend it. When I got yin up, I'll put yang out. A workout is yang, right? But if I'm tired, I sleep. Or I'll do postural work, and I'll do like foam rolling and stretching, and then that gives you energy, right? Or qigong, whatever it is to you, that will give you energy. So it's that balance. And most people don't have that problem. Most people don't move enough, right? So they need to move more, okay? Diet, quiet, movement. Quiet is sleep. Quiet is chilling. Quiet is meditation. Quiet is reading your book.
If you have trouble sleeping, what tips could you give to someone?
I reckon the biggest thing that made the difference for me personally was sunrise, sunset, and getting that light in your eyes.
So waking up at sunrise?
Like if you're struggling to sleep and you need that sleep, don't wake up with an alarm, right? But ideally, it's just getting that light in your eyes. Like when I wake up, I go outside straight away and I look at the light for like 10 minutes. That sets a rhythm to release melatonin like 12 hours later or something like that.
Oh, really?
So it's like a clock, circadian clock. And all our hormones are dependent upon that cycle. Like when we're a single cell organism, cortisol would spike when the sun hits it, and it will go down when the light goes away. So that's fundamental in our evolution. And that was the only thing that changed it back then. Now we get other inputs, but that's still a part of us. We're still that single cell organism in some sense. So you have to get that light in the morning, sunset light at night, and then blue light blockers. They're such a difference. And again, you just got to try them. Like if you wear blue light blockers and you're watching a movie and you take it off, it's like you're looking into the sun.
I have those.
Yeah,
I wear them, and they are, but my family laugh at me.
Really, I wear them to dinner and shit. I run them.
No, I love them too.
Yeah,
makes me feel like really intelligent as well, like this whole new persona. I love it.
So they make a difference.
They do, yeah.
And then magnesium obviously is a big one. They were the biggest actually for me. Like making sure someone's got magnesium for sure. And that's something you could supplement if you're not getting enough leafy greens and whatnot. But definitely that light, mastering the light is essential. And then focusing, obviously, not having sugar in that night. People have heaps of sugar at night. Like you're going to get blood sugar spikes. The blood sugar will crash and it'll wake them up. Or parasites wake you up between 1 and 3.
See,
commonly.
these parasites, honestly, I was having stomach pain. So if I didn't eat at 7 o'clock, for example, like dinner at 7 every night, and I waited till 9, I'd get these intense stomach pains.
Whoa, yeah.
And I went to the doctor, I had ultrasounds, I had this, that, the other, and no one could find anything. They're like, you're fine.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what's going on? And then I was told about the cleanse. And on week 2, I was like, okay, now I know what was going on there.
Yeah, did it go away?
It did go away.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah, that's whenever you see those like sharp, like spasm attacks, that's commonly, because I got that when I got parasites. I've done the cleanse, I do it every 6 months, right?
Yeah.
I do it every 6 months just to clean myself out. Plus you just eat good, you look good by the end of it. But I went to Tokyo and had sushi and then got parasites in Tokyo from the sushi there. And then I was like, it freaked me out a little bit, eh? I was like, but I got onto them really quick.
So how did you know you had them?
I didn't. I just got back and something was a little bit off and I was like, I'm just going to take the herbs in case. And they come out within like 2 hours of me taking the herbs.
2 hours?
Yeah, like straight away. Because I was taking oregano all over there as like an immunity thing just to combat the flights and whatnot. So that's anti-parasitic. But if you don't have sugar, they need sugar. They all need sugar to survive. They only live off sugar. So even if I didn't take any herbs or even my cleanse, that's why people like say when they go long fast, or some people have parasites come out when they go carnivore and that, because they're not having any sugar, right? I don't want to go carnivore. It's not. I like veggies, but that's why like you need to starve it of sugar. You need to starve it of sugar. That's why that diet protocol of the cleanse is so important. And you can't just take parasitic herbs. because you're not fixing the environment. And you'll find people that have a lot of sugar will have them. So don't think about catching them. Think about they will be there if the environment's there, like anything in nature. So I got a mate that is just way too gnarly into his sugar, like Pepsi and all this shit.
Yeah.
Got tapeworms and stuff. And the crazy thing is, he's seen little ones come out and he won't do anything about it because they change your brain, but the sugar addiction is so strong.
See, I've heard this.
That him seeing a tapeworm in his shit isn't enough for him to do anything about it.
I've heard they change your mind.
They change your mind, yeah.
And like your emotions. And
yeah, so I don't know if I'm talking to him anymore, you know? Like,
have they taken over?
yeah, it's like that. So
that's crazy.
So it'll change. And I've had people like iron deficiency, like long-term iron deficiency for females. That's a common one, and they'll literally consume the iron. They can cut into the villi, so they eat into the wall, like the intestinal wall. There's actually photos of that. And the most common one we find that on the cleanse, because thousands and thousands are done now. And the cool thing is for this cleanse, it was just a PDF for clients. And it was just, my sister said to us, just chuck it on the store. I was like, who's going to buy this?
Yeah.
And because that's what I mean, we didn't make this business, it sort of just did it to us. And then it started selling. And then I was like, what the hell? Like, it started selling. And then from word of mouth. And because no one was eating organic and cutting out the sugar and cutting out the grains and cutting out the legumes and the nuts and seeds and all these things that do common things that inflame people. But when you're so refined to it, then they even find out things you are allowed in the cleanse, like I said, cauliflower. If you're bloating or something from that, then you're like, oh, fuck, all right, I only had 3 things. It's got to be one of them. Let's test it. And that's what I mean, you got to own your shit. Test it, figure it out what works for you. Like the first time I did the cleanse, I had oat milk. When I got off it, I was like, whoa, like never again. Like oat milk made me feel so bad. So that was the last time I had oat milk.
It's like me and coffee.
Yeah.
I was so excited to have a coffee after the cleanse.
Yeah.
I had a sip in the morning and it was like I just had a line of Coke.
Really? Yeah.
I couldn't take it. I'm like, I cannot have coffee again, and I have not had caffeine since.
Wow, that's powerful. I respect people that can't. I'm on coffee.
You're back on the coffee.
Yeah, like I'm in control of it. I'm off it now. I had a week off it. I'm on the cleanse now, but.
Oh, by the way, not like I do lines of Coke. I just realised how that came out. But like, it's too much.
Yeah, it is. And people don't realise their anxiety. Like you get people that have full anxiety and having like 3 coffees a day and telling me that it's not involved. They really do not realise how much your food and your everything, especially your food and sleep and water, change your mind so much, and you can't outthink it away. You can't meditate it away. You need to respect your matter of your body. You need to respect the chemicals. You need to respect it all, because you can't think that away. And I know it. And I felt a little down when I got back from Bali. And in my head, I was like, oh, I know this is just from the food. It's not me. So it didn't segue and carry into something bigger. Like I was able to just say, I know in a few days of good food, I'm going to be back to normal. And I woke up one day, I'm like, oh, I'm back. You know. But people, they get stuck. They're eating shit, going to Macca's, doing this, and they're thinking it's all in their mind, but they're actually tricking themselves. You start respecting your body with constant acts of self-love, and then your own self-confidence grows, and all of a sudden everyone else will be more attracted to you too. And I'm not even meaning sexual, I mean just energy.
That energy,
yeah. When someone's healthy, you can tell.
You can tell, yeah, definitely. And do you know what gives me the shits? It's like people trust in our health system. They go to the doctor, and the doctors aren't really giving them advice, telling them to change their diet in these ways, and you're not seeing changes. It's like I know someone who had type 2 diabetes, and the doctor was like, okay, here's the medication that you need to take.
Yeah.
They did their own research, and they're like, okay, I just have to be keto.
Yeah.
And the diabetes will go.
Yeah.
And they did that. They changed like their diet.
That's happened to a lot of people, yeah.
Like, why aren't the doctors telling us this?
Yeah, well, they just won't know. And it's like they think they're doing the right thing because that's what they believe. And because they imagine doing like whatever it is, 7 years in school. And they believe that. So that's how they think they're helping people. They think this is all crazy shit. I've had, like, I get nutritionists that will write us about the cleanse and how parasites are a rare thing and you need to get tested for them. And they'll see photos of them in multiple people's shit on our page. Like we get sent every day. I probably got one in my phone right now from some parasite, right? And commonly it's liver flukes will be the most common one we get, which you get from seafood. And people will get their gallbladders removed because they start eating the gallbladder and the bile ducts, right?
Jeez.
And they'll have trouble digesting fat, so it's a common one. But all the little stomach cramps, trouble digesting fats, and just like, you just feel run down. But they'll see it and deny it. And it's like, and that's what I mean by this evidence-based sometimes goes too extreme, because these are the same people that would have told me there's no good evidence that smoking causes cancer in the 60s. But it's constantly just, you've got to use common sense.
Yeah.
And just
Absolutely.
blend it all together.
Have you heard of Dr. Sebi?
I have, yeah.
So he was around, probably in like the 60s or 70s, and he wasn't a doctor.
He's dead, eh?
He's
They
dead.
killed him.
They killed him because he was curing
They'll
AIDS.
kill us now, probably.
He was curing AIDS, he was curing cancer, and he was taken to court, and they're like, we want you to show us 20 people who you have cured. We want to see the results from when they had these diseases and afterwards. And he brought them.
Yeah, wow.
And they were like, we are cured.
Yeah. That's pretty wild.
Yeah. And just from changing diet.
Yeah. Oh, it's everything. It's
Yeah.
everything. Yeah. You have to get honest with yourself. And my personal big things out of those foundations is more than movement, more than the other stuff is sleep and diet. If you have a bad night's sleep, your whole day's almost a write-off. Like it's like you're shittier.
Yeah.
Right? And you think the world's different. It's not different. It's just that you didn't sleep right. So this is where you reflect on, what did I do today when I don't feel good? And the days that you do feel really good, the days where you're just on fire, I reflect on that now, which I never used to do for some reason. I was like, what did I do yesterday or last night? I was like, 8 hours sleep. Last night's dinner was like sweet potato and ribeye and whatever, some salad. I feel good, Or I woke up this morning and I didn't just have this coffee straight away. I woke up, had a glass of water, laid in the sun for a bit or something, and then had my organic coffee, so it's not sprayed, and with like some ghee or whatever instead of just like pasteurized milk. And you just do that and you realize, I just got to do that every day now, right? But then you can't eat the same foods every day because you got to rotate them, otherwise you become intolerant to it, which seasons would do.
Oh, really?
So yeah, the most common food intolerance in the West is dairy and gluten, which we have the most of.
Yes,
and the
we
most
do.
common food intolerance in the East is rice. So, because they have the most of that, right?
Wow, so
And
switching it up.
you have to switch it up. The way I was taught was your body, if you have, let's say rice, which is common for constipation and bloating for people, right? Your body everything has a negative to it and positive. Everything has its negative compounds, right? So say I have rice or spinach or whatever, your gut will see that and say, oh, okay, let's defend that there, okay? And then if it brings it in again, it knows, oh, we need more defenses there. Bring it in again, oh, this is how, let's really load up. And all of a sudden you get bloating and autoimmune sort of shit, right? But if you keep it guessing, with seasons would do, nature would do, the different animal walking by would do, like all this sort of stuff would do, then you get a good microbiome, but you also don't get too much of those same negative compounds, then you get inflamed over time. So the bottom line for people listening with the gut issue is rotate your foods, make sure it's organic, spray-free, or at least like spray-free, just make sure it's good quality, right?
Yeah.
Good meat, rotate your foods, be intuitive, because food has information in it, so you'll crave it for a reason. I ask myself, like, what do I feel like? Beef, chicken, pork, dark. Don't have pork that much actually, but, or nothing. Sometimes I just feel like a salad or just a cup of bone broth, and I'll listen to that. And it's funner, you have to count your calories, you feel good, and you'll look good, and you'll connect to your body, and then go to bed on time. And then you can repair and regenerate overnight. Because the same person has the shitty anterior pelvic tilt posture with their butt sticking out and the lumbar spine compressed. That person that eats well, sleeps well, they will regenerate overnight. They may not get any pain from that stress. But if that same person has the anterior tilt and eats like shit, sleeps like shit, they won't regenerate overnight. They'll get a little itis, and over time that'll create some lumbar pain.
And it's just like
whatever.
a bad cycle that keeps snowballing.
It's just a stressor, back to that physiological load, postural stress, diet stress, sleep stress, relationship stress, all that stress. And if you want to heal from anything, you start chipping away at these biggest stresses in your life, and then you won't get so sensitized to pain, and then you won't feel pain as much, which is gold for me.
And you have a new product coming out, which I'm actually really excited about.
Yeah.
Very on brand, Queen.
I know, yeah.
I love that. And I think, I hear a lot of stories, and there's a lot of women who are having problems with, or needing assistance with, getting pregnant. A friend of mine is in that boat as well. So what makes your product different from anything out there that's in the market?
So first of all, a lady this chick I know went to a psychic recently, and this psychic started telling, this is a cool story, started telling her about me, right?
Yeah.
And the psychic doesn't know me, right? Just said, who's this Callan? And he makes like elixirs or potions for like men and like women and stuff. And then I went and ended up going to see this psychic, and she was great, like way to one point.
See,
right?
I love psychics. When you find a good one, they're amazing.
We just did a podcast with us, so tune in on that.
Okay.
And she blew me away, like some crazy accurate stuff. And even spoke about something in the future, and it just happened. So
Jeez.
like a couple of days ago, someone else went. So that was like, and it was you wouldn't pick that. But she said I'm good at getting women fertile.
Oh, okay.
In the sense of I think in the
Should
sense of,
I'm not ready.
in the sense of these teachings,
Yeah.
right? And so was Paul. He's got many women fertile because if they're not doing all that stuff, it's a stress, right? And if the body doesn't feel safe, then it won't have a baby. If there's not enough fats and proteins, it won't have a baby. If you've got stress, it won't have a baby. But Queen is, well, first of all, we have King already for men, and King is liver and testicles. Liver is this nature's superfood. It's the most nutrient-dense food in the world.
Liver and testicles?
Yeah.
From which animals?
From cow.
From a cow,
Yeah.
okay.
And it's dried in a capsule.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not a savage. And the crazy thing is, it makes a guy's sex drive go up immensely. And that wasn't the intention behind it, but that's all the feedback we got. And then that's the feedback that we felt. And one time I actually had heaps of it, had 4 capsules, and I got tons of the shit, so I just pop it like fucking Tic Tacs, right?
Yeah.
And I felt it in me, and I was on my laptop, I was like, why do I feel like this? It's so random. And then I remembered I had heaps of it, so it wasn't like a placebo thing. And we just had a lot of people tell us it's like, that's what they're getting from that.
You must get some crazy feedback.
Yeah, we do. Lots of people's stools, like parasites.
Yeah, I
eggs and
can
stuff,
imagine.
Like, really a lot of that, because a lot of people have them, they don't realise they have them. Farm fish is also the most common way people get
Farmed
them.
fish.
Yeah, so farm fish are riddled with them, farm salmon and stuff. Most salmon's farm, so I get wild salmon, so I have it. But and then Queen is liver, fallopian tubes, and uterine tissue.
From cows also?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, all organic, and the gelatin capsules are tested for glyphosate. It's all as good as it gets.
And what made you choose those ingredients?
Just tribal wisdom. Like,
Okay.
I chose the testicles because tribes did that for trying to get men fertile and whatnot, right?
Really?
And then we had it, and I was like, oh, I can see how this would work, right? And it's just a similar amino acid profile too. So for the science-based people, it's similar amino acid profile to what that tissue needs. So if a girl has birth and all that tissue is damaged, it's going to be easy for the body to turn that into that. It's going to be hard for the body to turn celery into testicles. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's not,
I do.
or
Wow.
into uterine tissue. Like, it's not a similar thing. And you need the materials. So tribes would do that for females, and the females would do that. But no product had that. And it was actually really hard for us to find this, and we can only make a very small amount for the female one. Like, to put it in perspective, the female one will probably sell out in 24 hours, and then we won't be able to do it again for another two and a half months. Every quarter we can make.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so it's just hard to get that. But we'll keep working on it.
Because it's quite unique.
Yeah, it's very unique, yeah. And a farmer that's going to get it and give it to you. And it has to be quality and organic and spray-free. Like, it's hard to find that. But we got Cindy O'Meara, who owns Changing Habits. She sources all that stuff for us, and she's like, there's no stricter person. That's why you can trust. It's nice having someone that you can trust. Because she won't allow like anything in anything. Like an extract, she won't allow it. And I don't either. So, but we haven't also, but I haven't given this to girls yet. So I want the feedback from it. Yeah, I believe in it. I believe it's happened for a reason. And then it's crazy that the psychic told me that, and I'm releasing a product for female fertility.
Crazy.
So I was like, oh, that's wild. But I'm going to release also a PDF of fertility. I came up with this the other day, free PDF to go with it. Of like, remember, it's just a product, but it's not going to do shit if your ex-boyfriend's stalking you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
all these little things of like safety and security, like all this shit matters. Calming the system, the circadian rhythms for your hormones, having good nutrition. This is just a supplement. So all that shit's more important than any of our products. But it's just that little cherry on top, you know? And I believe in it. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So when's it launching?
Should be like, it's hard to say with this stuff, but probably like within a month.
Okay.
Within a month.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'll keep you updated on that. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Imagine like King and Queen on the jar.
See, I'm obsessed with that and the branding.
Yeah,
I
you
love
like
it.
the brand?
I love it.
Yeah, I was thinking it needs to be in a black jar, it needs to be gold writing, and it can't have like some lame crown or something. It just needs to be slick.
Just, it's chic
Yeah,
to the
it looks
point.
nice.
It does
Yeah.
look nice, yeah.
But I want the feeling of in the morning, if you take it, if whether King's next to it and your man's taking that, or whether you're single and it's just Queen and King, I want that feeling of when you both take it, you get your shit done, your work, or whatever your thing is, you work on yourself, or you work on your body, you work on your business, but that King and Queen archetype goes together, so we make a better just intention and feeling in the world.
I love that.
And that's what will be, that's the goal behind it all. Yeah, and hopefully it does.
I think it will.
Yeah, I think it
and
will.
I think
I know it will.
Yeah, you know, the psychics told you.
Yeah, I know.
You've manifested it. So, Callan, where can everyone reach you if they want to get in touch and
so
find out
my
more?
own personal Instagram's Callan Krause, Krause, and Callan with AN at the end. But Corrective Culture is all our stuff. So Corrective Culture is, we post on that every day. There'll be all the parasite stuff in there. King and Queen will be on there. And I'm currently, for all the body workers listening, whether you're a PT, physio, osteo, chiro, massage therapist, I'm creating Body Workers University, which will be an online bodywork platform to teach people how to assess, like say if you came and saw me for pain, how I would look at that from a deeper knowledge instead of just like a by the book. Like I want to create passionate people that are clinicians that want to learn and that want to look deeper into the body for those people that have long-term pain, because I only want to work with people that sort of no one else can fix. That's exciting to me.
Yeah.
I don't want like just the average. Yeah. Because that's fun. And that's what my main passion is for the rest of my life. I'll constantly learn that and keep updating this Bodyworkers University. So all of a sudden we can level up, because I still think the whole rehab field is really left behind with the medical system. I think if you go to the average physio, you're not going to get a great result. Right?
You don't, and it's almost like a subscription.
Yeah.
Like you just keep going back and back and you're not really seeing the results.
I know, yeah.
And then they can't really work out what's wrong with you.
Yeah, it's like there's good ones and there's not so good ones, and it's like anything. It's like anything. But I think if you're fresh out of uni, you're going to be lost. If you're a physio fresh out of uni, you're lost. I know you are, because they message me. So I want to teach people how to think, but not what to do. There will be a bit of that. I'll guide, and I want it to be a community where we all share and talk. And I got this client, what can you do? Imagine when there's like 1,000 people on there, all of a sudden
powerful.
We'll learn so much, and that excites me.
So powerful.
Yeah, that's mainly what I want.
And Callan, if you could give one piece of advice to your younger self, what would it be?
This is a good one. Like, you don't have to follow the rules. And I really believe this. You do not have to follow the rules, right? People think there's all these rules you're meant to do. The white picket fence, have to go to uni to do this, all that sort of shit. I thought I had to go to uni to be a physio. I basically do physio without going to uni, right? But I've got my insurances. But you know what I mean? Like, there's ways. There's so many ways around. People told me I couldn't go to the States. We'll find out tomorrow, but I'm going to a embassy meeting tomorrow to get into the States. There's all these ways around. Like, people told me not to open the gym where I'm at now because of zoning. So that broke the rules. But then all of a sudden we had it open for 6 months and it turned into a packing thing. So now within the zoning. So it all paid off. And as long as your heart is right and your intentions are right behind it, you don't have to think, yeah, I got to go to school and save for this and save for this. If you're just like attracted into your life while also doing the work, you can have it all. And yeah, I think there's a lot of people that think like that we're good in school and we're really smart and yes sir, no sir, but they just haven't got the life they want, and because they followed the rules. But as long as it's ethical, you know what I mean? As long as it's ethical and no one's getting hurt, you're fine. Doesn't matter what this person says and that person says. And unless you want to be like a brain surgeon, then follow the rules.
Definitely follow the rules, please.
But there's a lot of people out there that can reflect it, and also get healthy. If you're a young man, young woman, get healthy. The sooner the better. Sooner the better. If you get onto your health, your whole life changes around you. It's pretty crazy. When you get healthy, it's like you're glowing, walking. You have periods of that anyway, where you just will attract more into your life. But if you're unhealthy, I see that in people. If I have someone that wants to do biz with me and I see they're all sort of not on tune with what their foundations want to be, that's going to be a subtle blockade for me, you know what I mean? But if people respect someone so much when they're in control of those decisions in their life.
Because it shows that you're respecting yourself. Yeah,
you don't want to be like the millionaire that just like can't like control what he eats or on the piss all the time, all that sort of shit, right? You want to have that. When we talk about the king, that's financial and that's physical and that's emotional and that's that. So that's the goal for young people listening. And there's no money in selling drugs, so don't do that either.
I love the last one. Love it. Well, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me on. It's great. This podcast will do really well. I can see the passion behind it and you're a good interviewer.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.